Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the JK Experience. Dude, I think I just wasted all my energy right there on the opening sign. I'm just ready to just,
That was it? Really?
man, I don't know, dude. I am exhausted.
Is there such a thing as the dog days of winter?
Oh,
I feel like
man.
we're on 'em.
I tell you what, dude. No, it is just, it's a mix of everything, man. I mean, I was speaking to you a little bit earlier today about just burning the candle hard, man. It is so many activities going on with all the kiddos, and we've had so many projects, and just from one thing to the next, and I'm still trying to figure out this new 6 food elimination diet crap that I'm on that is kind of putting me in a little bit of a tailspin. But I'm just trying to continue to keep my energy up because I'm also doing 2 workouts a day still and training for that Spartan race coming up here in the middle of February. So, man, my just energy levels is I've just got to continue to maintain. I'm having that afternoon crash right now, so I got to do something, dude. Cupcakes, dude. I saw donuts in there, and I'm like, I want one of those so bad. I'm not gonna do it though.
I did too. So here's a funny thing. So one of the senior agents in our office convinced one of the junior agents in our office to go get him another donut because he didn't want to be seen around the table again.
Nice.
I thought that was awesome. I'm like, well played, sir.
That's great, dude. So you're actually you were on and off your Rockstar kits,
Gosh,
right? Is it
so-
Rockstar or
no,
Monsters?
Monsters. The sugar-free Monsters. Those things
Oh,
are like crack
Jeez,
to me.
dude, they're just terrible.
And I was off for the longest time, but then I fell off the
You
wagon,
ran, yeah,
and
you
then I
regressed.
got back on it. And it honestly was around hunting season, man. I just needed that extra kick in the pants at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I started drinking them again. And then I got to the point where my joints started aching again. I'm
Oh.
like, nope, I'm done.
Right.
So right before the first of the year, I had my last one, and now we're done. But I will tell you, this time of day, it'd be really nice to crack one and get me through.
Yeah.
But I'm making do.
Are you doing Axio?
No, I'm not. Because,
You're not doing
yeah, I've got off the Axio too because I started getting a little jittery on the Axio.
Really?
Well, when you have 5 of them a day,
Well, yeah, moderation, dude.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I don't know, dude. I mean, we should talk about our subject though, because that is definitely going to help me get there. No, I mean, I'll find the energy in it. I'm excited. I mean, here's the thing too: is I got about 6 more hours in this day left that I've got. So even though it's late in the afternoon, hey, so I want to talk about when it comes to business. It is a roller coaster of a ride, man. And as an entrepreneur, especially, I mean, your emotions are going up and down and sideways and in and out, and sometimes they're not even at flat line; they're actually below that because you're just in self-destruct mode. And dude, I tell you what, I've been in every one of those emotions, and I've learned over the years to try to stay a little bit steady. But I remember literally just sitting back last week and saying, you know what, man, I gotta stop going so high because I have a tendency sometimes to crash too.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about winning, wealth, and wisdom when it comes to business. And when you hear those words, winning, and then wealth, and then wisdom in business, you automatically, I don't know, I'm more than likely you're like me, you're automatically looking like, okay, winning in business. Dude, I'm just crushing competition. I'm crushing sales. We're number one in the marketplace. And then when we look at wealth, we're like, dude, I'm just making so much money, and I can do whatever I want to do, and all this money, just the cash flow's coming in all the time. And then wisdom is, of course, obviously just like, dude, I know what I'm doing. I own my market. I'm brilliant. I'm smart. I paid the price. I'm not going to tie with that. That's not what winning, wisdom, and wealth what means in your life. And so I want to just hit those because I think it's so important, especially as an entrepreneur. Man, you really got to figure out those 3 W's in your life if you're gonna survive this. It's this insanely amazing, wonderful, heartbreaking business that you've decided to take ownership in.
Yeah, how about it? Because these things, these are really big, powerful things, not only in the professional realm but also in the personal realm, and we got to figure out what those look like.
Right, exactly. So let's just kind of tackle winning in business. I remember when I first started out, when baseball was done, and I came home, tail between my legs, didn't have a clue what I was going to do. I got into real estate, and winning to me at that time meant, can I get at least a closing a month? You know, can I get a closing a month, and then eventually could I get 2 a month? And I looked at winning as this monetary thing in my life. And you know, we had no responsibilities. Kate and I were just married, so we had no children at the time, and it was literally just us. And she had a great job. She was an RN, and so you know, we had a little bit of financial freedom in our lives. And you know, my income was great, but it wasn't necessarily. We had great insurance. We had a stable paycheck. And so at the very beginning stages of my life, winning really looked at like just like this very minimal financial thing that I needed to do, okay? As I progressed, like winning started to look like different things. And so, I mean, for the longest period, it was always going back to, okay, the financial freedom and winning in our business and how do I continue to hopefully take more market share. But, that was 14 years ago, man. And then as I look at winning right now, and this, the numbers of course are important. We want to make sure that we're successful on the financial part of things, but winning to us is not about the financial part of it, right?
No.
We really truly look at, winning means like, listen, how many people did we impact? How many people have we had conversations with? How many people have chosen to become a part of our culture and what we feel like it brings in the value? And it also looks like winning is how many people's lives have been changed, right? They've made the commitment and now they've actually had their lives changed and impacted. And we look at that at a completely different level. And so, you've experienced this, and I would say that's true though, isn't it?
So true. Winning has in our culture, winning has nothing to do with holding ourselves up to another company and going, are we ahead of them?
Right.
No, that's not winning for us. Like winning is when we look around this company and we go, are people happy to be here? Do they want to be here? Are they growing and improving in themselves? Yeah,
right.
That's winning.
Yeah.
Right? And I know you're going to expound on that, but when I look at this, so many people get caught up on, am I ahead of the next guy?
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. As I think of winning, I don't want you to mistake when I say that it's just simply about helping people do better in their lives, because obviously there's a part of it you have to be financially sound. We literally had a meeting on Monday, and I discussed with our inner core about the financial piece of it, right? It's very, very important, and we have to be diligent, we have to be prudent about that, because we have a duty to those that have entrusted their salaries and their livelihood to us as a company, right? But the money's a byproduct.
Yes.
And I really do believe that if you are doing the things that are important in your just cause, in your mission statement, all of those things that you have sat down and identified as your purpose and your passion, the money will come, and the money will be the byproduct of the hard work you've done in the workforce and in the community and in your space, right? And so when I say that, I really want you to understand as an entrepreneur, it's really easy to chase money. And I will tell you this, man, I have burned through more money. I have pissed more money away, in my life, and it will always be made back, right?
Yeah.
You'll always be able to have that opportunity to make money again in your life. But it's the other things that are so important. And winning for me now is about freedom, right? Winning for me now is can I leave the office knowing that the office is going to continue to thrive and continue to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Because we have built up leadership in our companies. So winning is me wanting more time with those that I truly care about and love, which happens to be my family. And how can I pour into them? I can't be the coach for them, all my boys, I can't be the coach for them if I'm worried about these other financial responsibilities all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so winning is looks completely different in my life now than it did back in the day. Now, do I still need financial freedom? Absolutely. Sure. You know this. You and I have had many conversations about this, is that we still need to continue to grow. We still need to continue to have impact. We still need to have success. But because of all those things, it'll allow me to do the things that I'm truly passionate about. You're kind of getting into this next layer for you, right? You've been through the system. You understand the culture. You're sharing the culture, and you're pouring that into people. Does winning look different to you now in your life than it did a couple years ago?
Oh, 100% different, because there was a time when I was totally driven on that wealth building. If I was building wealth, I was winning.
Right.
At what cost though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't until this position where I saw, you know what, that's not the only thing. You said a mouthful when you said, hey, yeah, first of all, you have to be economically viable. You have to be able to keep making payroll. You have to be able to keep rewarding people for
Right.
working for you. But that's not the only goal. You know, having millions of dollars in Josh's bank account does not constitute winning.
Right.
So yeah, it looks a lot different than it did even 5 years ago for me.
Yeah, and I tell you, I've had those thoughts every once in a while. It says, man, if I wouldn't have hired so-and-so, and if I wouldn't have hired so-and-so, and I would have just taken on more responsibility, the bank account would look tremendously different,
Mhm.
right? It would look absolutely, completely different than it does right now. But that's not winning to me, right?
Yeah.
And I've done that before, and that's not the lifestyle that I want, right?
Yeah.
So I think that once again, as a business owner, as somebody that's an entrepreneur, and you're out there, you really have to define what winning looks like in your life, and it's really important to continue to look at that because it evolves. It evolves over time, and you better have a game plan. You better know what winning looks like because you're going to make decisions based on what your mindset is and what winning is in your life.
Yeah. I want to know this, and how many times in your career as a business owner, how many times have you chosen compassion over profit?
Right.
And by that I mean I've seen it happen here where you have somebody that's kind of down on their luck. They need a job. They're somebody who's maybe near or dear to you, and you go, listen, we don't really have a position, but here's where we need some help. If you can fill those, we can bring you on.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the best thing for your bottom line.
Right.
So I mean, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've definitely done that. We've done that numerous times because we really do believe in impact, and we talk about just like how else can you change people's lives if you don't have an opportunity to have them in your circle,
Mm-hmm.
right? And, I'm a man of faith. I really truly believe that you can never outgive God, and I know that the more that you give, the more that you receive. And so that has been, that's the faith that I have to have. As an entrepreneur, man, you are putting your guts out there all the time, and you never know to a certain point when your next paycheck's going to be. Obviously, as you evolve and you get better and you become more successful, the consistency helps out as well. But the more the more you grow, the more overhead you have, the more opportunities you have. That the financial overhead that you experience every month, it just continues to get larger and larger and larger. So you have to produce more and more and more and more, right? So you have a responsibility and that continues to grow. And listen, it's not for everybody. So I'm not talking to the average person out there who's like, dude, no, I'm totally content. I'm not going to grow. I just want to be this. I just want to plateau. I want to be. I'm not talking to you. Cool for you. Good. That's awesome. But for those out there that really truly say, hey, listen, I know that I've got some greatness in me that is yet to be unveiled,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that I got to continue to push. Those are the things that you have to, once again, you have to evaluate what winning looks like in your life.
Yeah.
So I want to move on to wealth because it really does tie into this to winning. What does wealth look like to you? And once again, the younger Josh was always about creating financial wealth. And listen, the older Josh is definitely about financial wealth as well too. I definitely want to make sure that my family, and those that are around me are creating financial wealth. We talk about this all the time through their companies, right? Listen, it's awesome that you work with people, you work for people, and you're helping them create wealth in their life. What are you doing to create financial wealth in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think people need to really understand that as like, what does financial wealth look like? What does it mean to be wealthy in your life? And what are you willing to sacrifice for that? And I would say, once again, going back to the younger Josh, the financial wealth that I was willing to sacrifice was the financial wealth of the time with my children, the time with my wife, the weekends that I would have off, the evenings that I would be able to be home. I sacrificed that personal wealth for the financial wealth of meeting with clients, doing open houses, constantly working on contracts, constantly trying to take all on everything and not sharing it, right? All of those things that I felt like I needed to do at the time to provide for my family, when in fact at the end of the day when I look back on it, it's like, man, that was it. It was important, but was it important at the cost that I was willing to sacrifice those moments with my kids that I'll never get back, or that opportunity with my wife that will forever never be brought back into my life?
Yeah, anybody who's ever been paid on hustle has experienced that.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take this Saturday and I'm gonna do the things that I need to do to get me paid because that's what gets me paid. And I've been in that situation where you go, listen, it's for the better of the family,
Yeah.
right? If I can just put together one more paycheck on this,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so much better for us, right? I'll make it up to us by taking a vacation, I'll make it up to us by, but at the end of the day, do you ever get there, right? You are compromising a lot of things in an effort to earn that paycheck.
Yeah.
And you said it very accurately when you said you don't get those moments back.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because I remember when I was selling, when I go on that appointment, I'd always go like, hey, this is one more opportunity for money in the bank, which would allow me to have, X amount or allow us to have time to do this. And listen, there's a season in your life. You have to work your butt off. As an entrepreneur in charge of your business, you have to make sure that you are willing to put in the time. So don't get me wrong when I say that, hey, listen, it's about, 9 to 5 and you got to have the family time and all the time. No. It's about the quality of the time, not necessarily always the quantity of the time. But you have to be willing to work your face off, just like we've said, right? Because if you don't do that, then you won't ever get to that next stage in your career. Because how many people do we know that aren't willing to sacrifice and actually be intentional with creating wealth in their life?
Yeah, some of the most successful people have the best work-home balance, and they just have it figured out.
Right.
They're happy to be at work, they're happy to be at home, they've got the bills covered, they're putting money in the bank, and once you figure that out, I mean, that's a Zen moment when you can actually figure out that balance. So, but yeah, there is going to be a time where you're going to have to compromise, you're going to have to hustle and just make it happen, but it doesn't have to be all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 20 or 30 years long, which
Yes.
most people are making careers out of it, right? Listen, it's a season in life. I did that, and I don't regret it because I still knew where my priorities were in the sense of like I still bled into my kids, I still bled into my marriage, right? And I always had constant communication with Kate, and we grew through that too. We grew through all of that. But I would say that if I didn't focus so intentionally on growth and opportunity and taking chances at that time, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in right now where I can spend more time with my kids after the work hours, right?
Yep.
Doing coaching, tournaments, all this time that is required of me now that I have an opportunity to do because I was willing to pay the price back then.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't willing to pay the price.
So true.
So as you're thinking about that, I want you to think about like when it comes to wealth in your life, what price are you willing to pay right now? What price are you willing to pay to create the wealth in your life, and whatever that wealth looks like? And so you really define that. Is it something in the money situation? Is it something in family life? Is it something in personal life, right? And then also understand that you are going to have to sacrifice for certain things. So what are you willing to sacrifice for? The wealth in your health, the wealth in your marriage, the wealth with your relationship with your kids, the wealth in your bank account, whatever that is that you've identified that's important to you, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to do it? Part of what I was telling you is like, I'm exhausted because I'm exhausted physically too because of the workouts that I'm doing. I'm willing to sacrifice the pain and the exhaustion right now because I know it's going to pay off in the next month when I go and compete in that race.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to be in the best freaking shape of my life in order to compete at it, right? Well, it's a temporary thing in my life. It's a chapter in my life. Now, do I want to do this every day for the rest of my life? Oh, absolutely not. But I'm willing to pay the price right now because I know what wealth looks like when it comes to my health, and I know that there's an end game for me immediately. Now, there'll be another game after that. There'll be another opportunity for something else, but right now the vision is from 30 days from now, I'm willing to pay the price now. Are you willing to pay the price to accomplish that wealth in your life? All right, so the next one is going to be wisdom. Dude, I tell you what, every morning I'm praying for wisdom. Every morning, that's literally almost the first thing that comes out of my life. When I say my prayer over the kids every night, the first thing I talk about is wisdom and praying for wisdom in their lives, right? So wisdom is so important. I think that wisdom is something that everybody should be praying for more of in their lives, right? But the thing that I've realized is that wisdom isn't just given to you. It isn't like you just wake up one day and you have wisdom just magically appear in your head, right? Wisdom is established over knowledge and understanding and actually doing the work and then reflecting on it and all these things, right? I don't think that people have enough wisdom in their life right now, and I think that people really need to start thinking about what and how can they obtain more wisdom in their life.
Yeah, wisdom in business is, you have to have done it in order to get those chops in business, right? You
Yeah.
have to have had some dirt kicked in your face to realize that you are all of a sudden more wise than you were before.
Right.
You don't just become a CEO or a business owner and be like, oh man, I have all the answers.
Right.
I have it all figured out.
Yeah.
No, it takes getting knocked on your butt to learn those lessons.
Right. Yeah. And so many of us, and I've hit this before, and so I'm just kind of repeating this a little bit, but it's that knowledge and understanding, and then reflection turns into wisdom. But it's not. You're not just gonna freaking get wisdom from a book, or you're not gonna get wisdom from a podcast. Dude, wisdom is the life experience that you go out there and do. The knowledge is the book that you read. The knowledge is the podcast that you listen to. The knowledge is the people that you've surrounded yourself with that are helping and pouring into your life, right? The understanding is when you actually apply it into your life, because every bit of wisdom that you get is personal and different, right? The wisdom that you've got in your life, you can tell me about it, but I haven't experienced it. So I can use that to help my life, but my wisdom, my personal wisdom is through the experiences that I go through. And then I got to reflect on it too, man, because if you don't reflect on it, you don't remember, you don't learn anything from it. It's just an event that happened in your life, and you have not gained anything if you don't reflect on it and actually take it personal and really start to apply it to your future principles and the things that you're going through.
Yeah, that is actually very, very poignant, because if you are not applying it, if it doesn't, I mean, we can all learn from our mistakes, right? We were told that from an early age. You learn from your mistakes. But if you don't grow from it and you don't apply it, then it's not wisdom. It's just a hard lesson.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So once again, you guys, I just want to review this one more time. You've got what does winning look like in your life? Where are you at in that aspect of winning? What does wealth look like in your life? And what does wisdom look like in your life? When it comes to business, when it comes to just your life in general, man, you should be asking these questions, and you should be having these conversations with those that are in your inner circle, those that are sitting at your table. Because if you can't define it, how the heck do you know if you're ever going to achieve it, right? If you've not illustrated to yourself and to other people what winning looks like, or what wealth looks like, or what wisdom is in your life, dude, I'm telling you, you just have no concept of where you're at in your life, and that's not right. You're doing too many things, especially as an entrepreneur. You're put in too many situations not to have a better understanding of what those three aspects should be looking like in your life, and also to see if you've grown too, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, years can go by pretty doggone fast, man. I was just talking to Todd earlier today, and he was, looking at about, listen, 10 years ago, here's where I was at. This is where I'm at now. That is like the amount of things that were accomplished over a 10-year period. It's amazing to him to see his growth. But if he wasn't reflecting on that, if he wasn't reflecting on the man that he used to be to the man that he's become, it's all worthless. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because he now can see that, man, if I could grow that much in 10 years, what are my next 10 years going to look like?
Yeah, and exactly. You have to have that reflection. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to, you have to be willing to do a self-audit.
Yes.
You have to be able to look introspectively and say, hey, do I have the right definition of these words? And you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We talk a lot about honesty. Hey guys, as always, man, like once again, I know that I'm pushing this, and we're going to be pushing it every single stinking time, but we are not advertising on this. We are not talking and promoting other things or products right here. I mean, literally the way that this is going to get out there is if you are sharing it, if you are commenting on it, if you are taking things away from this that are valuable for you, and you're having conversations with other people. I just want to highlight that really quick, is that, a lot of our conversations come from, experiences, of course, that we're going through, but also it comes from books and other podcasts and other things that we are pouring into ourselves, and then we feel it's a necessary thing to talk about, right? So I know that there was some value brought to you today. I know that the podcast previously that had brought value to your lives. Are you having further conversations? Are those topics and are those opportunities for you to be talking with other people about? And are you sharing this, you guys? That's the only thing that we ask. Get this out there. Get this to other people that you know that would actually make an impact on their lives.
You got it. We're not asking for much. Just click the share button.
Exactly. All right, guys. Hey, listen, we're going to get out of here. And as always, we appreciate you guys listening. We are so grateful for you. And we definitely look forward to talking to you guys on the very next episode.